And
Okay.
record. Yay. All right, Olivia, thank
Hi.
you for being willing to be recorded for your EPT session and to just like, yeah, to share like all the heart water that might come.
Here for it.
We're all here for it. So yeah, today is really about whatever you want it to be. I know we talked a few weeks ago about what was coming up for you, a lot around time scarcity.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, wanting to, well, before we like dive in, do you have any questions of like how this will go? You've had EPT a couple of times. No, so you feel
Nope.
pretty ready.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, tell me what's going on. Explain to me the situation.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, it's been like at least a month of just like cycling through illnesses in my house. Got two small kids, me, my husband, like somebody's always sick. Um, it feels like every 2 weeks. And it's just like throws a wrench in everything when that's going on because I personally have been sick for the last month, and I guess for the month before that my kids were getting sick, and I just like felt like I haven't had any time to do the things that I want to do, haven't had the energy to do the things I want to do, or even to do the things that like I have to do to like run a household, not to
Yeah.
mention, right, like working on the stuff I enjoy or like the business I'm building or um, take care of my body, and my mental health. So, and I wasn't sleeping, and there was just like this like swirling like pressure happening, um, where yeah, I just felt like always in fight or flight, I think, or freeze, because then I would just like collapse into a heap of like motionless nothing,
Yeah.
um, exhaustion and all of that. And I'm somebody who really appreciates like routine and structure and stability. So like not having any of that and not knowing when it would return has been really hard.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Hmm.
And also so much of it is outside of your control, right? Like you
Right.
can't
Hmm.
keep your kids, little kids especially, from getting sick. You can't keep your husband from getting sick. And
Hmm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
because I
And
know you, like, and I know
yeah.
what you're building and I know what you're coming up on because you're about to um, co-host a retreat in January, just like
Yeah.
me. And
Hmm.
the I know the internal pressure. Oh, Jimena is here. I'll let her in.
Hi, Amanda.
Um, I know the internal pressure of, I've got these goals and dreams
Yeah.
and visions and ideas, and they are not like, I can't do anything about them right now.
Hmm.
Like, it's like everything has been taken away almost
Hmm.
and like forced you to like be in this place. Yeah. So
Yeah. And
when I,
then,
s- yeah,
oh,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Yeah.
No,
Just
no.
like a lot of, like resentment and rage that comes through, and not necessarily at my people, although definitely like that comes in here and there, but like just of the situation.
Yeah.
And then also feeling like I don't have anywhere to take it.
Mm,
So it
yeah.
just like kind of festers.
Yeah. Whew, yeah. Okay.
I'm like
Yeah.
already crying. So good job.
Good.
Heart water, here we come.
Something about the presence just makes it happen, makes it happen.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Truly, though, you being able to like actually carve out this time to be with all of this, like, of course. I mean, I know that you cry easily too. So I'm just for anyone that's watching,
Yeah.
she's a crier.
True.
which is so satisfying for my role because oh gosh, when I first started doing this a few years ago, I that was like my goal was to like get people to it was like my ego was like if I don't hey
Oh,
lady
Nana.
um my ego is like if I don't get her if I don't get them to cry then it like isn't working
What am I even
um
doing?
seriously um yeah I would really like go home and like beat myself up after like seeing clients and
Oh,
but that was just that was immature healer Beth who
well,
just
I mean,
didn't know.
anytime you need a confidence booster,
I know,
you know where to find me.
I know. Okay. Well, I worked with Katie a lot and she rarely ever cried. And same with Lauren Schlansky. Like they don't cry that often. And I'm like, I've
Hmm.
done a lot of work with you. Now I know like the shit works. It's
It's
not
not
really the
me, it's
crying.
you. Yeah.
It's really like there are so many ways for release. So anyone who is watching this live or replay, which I know Jimena knows all about this, but so many ways to release energy and like yawning, coughing, burping, like farting, like literally all anything that like is getting something out of you, crying is a very potent one. But yeah, I see it as a very good sign that you allow yourself to release so easily.
Yeah.
Um, so, all right, let's just like pull back a second. I know because I know you, I've already just like very loose and chatty with you and kind of forgot that we're
Hmm.
recording here. So, let's get to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you just place your hands on either side of your head, feet on the ground. And folks who are following along, you can do the same thing. We're going to take in 6 deep breaths in the nose and out the mouth. And on the breath in, you're just going to squeeze your head. On the breath out, you're going to release. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and breathe. And we'll do 3 more if you're tracking. When you feel complete, you can release your hands. Oh, nice and grounding. And while we were breathing, and when you were talking earlier, I started to get this like imagery. And what it feels like is this forced time that you're in is like a massive cleansing of you're like you know this already that you're like in an up level and
Hmm.
you're like you're stepping into your gifts and owning. I mean, you've been doing Instagram lives and sharing, and you've done a couple, and sharing what you're here for. I can't wait for you to be ready to do a Gene Keys one on my Instagram. But
Yeah.
I actually was going to message you about that the other day. But like just knowing like there are so many ways that you are really, really like putting your energy and backing like what you want to be doing in this world. And it's requiring like a cleansing of the way things used to be and likely requiring a cleansing of um or like an upgrade in your capacity for trusting in
Hmm.
the unknown. So I like to think and I believe that whatever is occurring in our life at whatever time is like meant to be happening, right? So if I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and if you're building a business and you're in deep distress with people in the house, partners, whatever, or your family, got to like go take care of a parent or something, like life is making space for all of those things. It's not taking away from what you're creating, and it's not what you're creating is not taking away from your family. It doesn't have to be that way.
Hmm.
And so just like trusting that all of this is here. And I know we're talking a lot today about time scarcity. So this is super relevant for that concept that like
Yeah.
helping you to anchor in a truth around urgency. Like there is no, like nature doesn't have urgency. If we want to learn from someone, um, all we know this conceptually, but like just to remind you, like all seasons are valid and valuable. And you're kind of like in this little intense like tornado of like, okay, we're gonna like clear. And we're in the literally in the middle of eclipse season right now too.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like,
So fun.
okay, you've got it's so fun, so fun. So um, you know, without putting too much stock in the story of everything that's going around and just anchoring into, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna stay close in. I am choosing to trust that where I am is exactly where I need to be time and time and time again, because that's
Mhm.
really going to serve you as as what you're building builds. Like it's inevitable that what you're doing is going to happen. Like
Mhm.
what you're creating is successful already. What you're creating is supporting people already. I know this on the back end, but like just to remind you, you know, your gift makes space for you in the world. And you're
Mhm.
doing the courageous and very challenging and rebellious thing in our culture of following those heart led, pulls. And yeah, this is part of that process of just like, I am going to have to like really up level my trust game
Yeah.
and my urgency has no place here game. Um, and I'm with you. I'm with you in it. It's scary. It's very scary. But so it's just it is part of the process through which you maintain your integrity and authenticity in this work that you want to bring to the world, I believe.
Mhm.
So, okay, let's start. Let's start.
Yeah. I just
Go
want to
ahead.
say
Yeah.
real quick, if I can, like that whole
Yeah.
piece about like the
Yeah.
work not taken away from my family
Mm. Yeah.
and my family not taking away from the work. Like I feel like that's really relevant.
Yes. Yes. Oh, honey. Yes. Oh,
I might have to take off my camera because I tend to ugly cry.
you are welcome to if you want. So
Okay. Love you.
we welcome it here. Yes. And there's no like requirement to be videotaped while you're crying. Um, oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's real. That's really real. And I think there's also just these models of success that we've been shown really like, how do I want to say this? There are templates for success that do not require us to go against what our system is telling us to do, that don't require us to sacrifice what is true for us. And what's true for you is that you're a mother, a devoted mother and wife of two children. You're very connected to their world, and you desire to show up for them in a certain way. And so trusting that like all of this gets to exist together. And if it's
Yeah.
not, then something just has to like shift. And right now, based on what I know about you on the outside, it doesn't feel like things on the outside need to shift. The outside is shifting for you. So what needs to shift is where you place yourself on the inside,
For
around
sure.
that trust. So yeah. Okay, let's see. All right, go ahead and say my name is Olivia.
My name is Olivia.
Say my name is Beth.
My name is Beth.
Good. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. 10 of distress, 4 of elation. So elation, to remind you, is essentially your system is elated or happy in distress.
Ew.
In Yeah, ew. Ew. Yeah, it's gross. So what the way I like to describe it, or some people relate to it as like, oh, I'm addicted to feeling this way. Um, but on a lighter kind of note, I usually just that indicates to me that there's just an additional benefit to keeping this. So there's just like an
Right.
extra hold on this for some reason. So Stage of healing. One, two, three, four. So you're in stage four, which is depression.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
Which I was talking to someone yesterday and they were like, I think maybe I'm depressed, but then I realized I was grieving and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you could be both, honey, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Like depression in terms of stage of healing is a really common place to be in. And it really looks like feeling stuck, like feeling like, the energy can be like frustrated. It's like I have hit a wall here. It's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
the same quality of depression that we've been shown from like the
Mm.
Zoloft commercial with the little like tomato that's rolling
As I just
around.
take my Zoloft.
Like it doesn't have to look like that for it to be qualified as
Yeah.
depression. But and I just like to remind people that it's or reframe that it is a stage of healing. It is a stage of the process of what we go through in these cycles. And we talk about, like a lot of people talk about the healing spiral, like what you're dealing with now likely will come up again in another
Mm-hmm.
season in a
Mm-hmm.
different way. And you might get stuck in it, and that's okay. Like none of this is permanent. Um, but depression would have you think something different. So,
For sure.
um, all right, go ahead and say, I'm okay to show up.
I'm okay to show up.
I'm okay to pay attention.
I'm okay to pay attention.
I'm okay to tell the truth.
I'm okay to tell the truth.
I'm okay to let go.
I'm okay to let go.
Say, I'm okay to show up again.
I'm okay to show up.
Whew, girl, none of that is congruent.
Cool.
So,
Thanks. Thanks.
all right. So we're gonna we'll check in with these at the end of the session, but the goal will be to drop your distress level to neutralize elation, to move you into at least stage five in stages of healing, which is acceptance, and then to make you congruent with showing up, paying attention, telling the truth, and letting go.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Show me strong, show me weak. How many issues? We've got three here. And I'm just gonna ask another question. Okay. Sometimes I test to see like what kind of realms we're working in. And today I tested. So I'll look at, is this physical, mental, emotional, spiritual? And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm getting today is it's mental, emotional, spiritual. So it's a big
Great.
yes. This is a lot. Sometimes it's just one, so just honoring that. And let's see. Yeah. I'm also just testing your sense of worthiness around this.
Very low.
It's a one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really from like a set point, your worthiness set point in relationship to the situation that you're in where you're creating something new and everything is like on the outside of your world is just crushing in on you. And I mean, you've been physically sick for almost, a month and a half and dealing with sickness in your house. Like there's a lot kind of happening. I was a little surprised to see that it wasn't physical. Um, but what that kind of shows me is, or the way that I read that, I guess, is that you've passed through the physical component of this and we're in these other realms. So it's
Yeah.
actually really, really solid time to be coming here. So let's do this. All right. Should we make first issue? Let's see what this is. It's current. Who? Yes. Self. No. Friend. Self. Family. Family. Current spouse. So Alan. Something to do
Mm.
with him. No. Lung. Right lung. So just looking for where this initial emotional block is. Rigid. All right. Alan. Okay. Alan is being rigid with himself right
Mm.
now. So what comes up there?
Alan is naturally rigid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's been interesting. Like I've been really, and I think we talked about this last time we met up, but like I've been trying to just sort of like gently unsubscribe from his urgency and
Mm-hmm.
like his anxiety and his, just all of his energy, his anxious energy. And he's just always trying to sort of control everything, micromanages every experience. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. He's over controlling.
Mhm.
Yeah. We can leave it at that. Let me just see if there's an
Yeah,
earlier part.
it's not from a nasty place. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
This
it's
is
just
how he knows
definitely,
how to live. This is how he
yeah,
has created
yeah.
success in your life with your kids and your family and all
Hmm.
that. So we can all like understand and validate that need to hold on to that,
Yeah,
because it's what makes them feel safe and successful in this world. Let's see. There is an earlier time, conception to birth, birth to one, one to five, five to 10, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So we're going to you around age nine. Or what? Let's see. Sessions, yours, intangible, peace. Huh. Yours. No, whose is this? Oh, it is yours. Yeah. Okay. So in year nine, what's coming
hmm.
up is you being rigid about your sense of peace. So
Okay.
keeping your own calm. So when I say that, what's going on when you're nine?
I think that's when my parents are probably like either just divorced and we moved to Texas. Um,
Mm, yeah, that's testing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so wouldn't be in the midst of the divorce. Yeah, I don't know. I think, I was like going through my gene keys this morning,
mm,
because I'm working on a class for the Venus sequence, and like I was definitely like looking at that age time.
huh,
I was like confused and also relieved, but my shadow here is like um that transactional nature of relationships,
mm, yeah,
and how I just was like trying to like be everything, be perfect, and not show my emotions and fly under the radar. My
mm,
mom's like super emotional. Um, she was going through a lot, and she was actually probably trying to keep it together for
yeah,
me, if I had to guess. But yeah, I don't know if I
yeah,
really remember like being concerned with my piece or even having a concept of what that would be at that age.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't think this is like it was like a conscious thing that you were like, I
yeah,
need to
yeah,
be peaceful.
right.
But more kind of like what you were saying at the like this feels like a fight or flight sort of
Hmm.
like a fight kind of attempt. So,
Okay.
but when I test, like just generally because of your parents' divorce, I get a yes. Um, but almost like this idea of you trying to be over controlling with your emotional
Hmm.
realm. I think that that's kind of the deeper thing here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that's coming up. Okay, good. So we are gonna move. Yeah, I feel it. Like the breath is like tight. So we're in your, yeah, it's in the lung. Okay, so you were in your right lung. We're gonna see. Yeah, so I'm gonna have you put the back of your hand, so maybe your left hand over your right lung space, the back of your other hand over your forehead. And
Got
anyone
it.
else can follow that if they'd like. This is kind of kicking anything up for you. Oh, around rigidity. So thinking about you being nine, your parents just got divorced, and you trying to kind of fit a certain energy to to protect yourself and protect your mom. So when you're ready, go ahead and breathe. We'll do 3 deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth. Just releasing this energy of rigidity. Good. One more. Oh, that was a good one. Okay, when you feel ready, you can release your hands. Are there any more emotions here? No. Move on to the next issue. Yeah, so we're going to move on to, there were three issues here. We're going to move on to the second issue. So moving that, show me strong, show me weak. Second issue, good. So what? Looking all around here. Money. Ooh, cash means job. Job.
Hilarious.
Right. This is a past job. So something to do with a past job. All right. Show me strong, show me weak. Now we're going to move to your left lung. That's nice.
I love
Wait.
all of our, I mean, except for Alan's, but everything has been respiratory.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh. All of your sickness has been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your okay. So this time it is your rigidity, but
Okay.
around your past job. So when I say that, what comes up for you?
Um, do we know which past job?
You can start telling me and I'll test for it.
Okay. I mean, I don't,
Well, what's your most
I don't
recent
know.
past job?
My most recent, yeah, sorry. I'm like, oh, so working part-time from home contract work for Joyfully. But I was full-time before my daughter was born there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that one. So,
Okay.
why do you have what
Rigidity.
energy? Yeah, what let's talk about it and
Yeah.
understand this.
Um, let's see. I mean, I used to, until I left very recently, I would go just once a week, and it was actually, it felt really like supportive. But for a while it was like super stressing me out because I felt like the expectations of what I could do with my limited time there were unrealistic. And so I was able to speak up for myself in that and like um get some of that taken off of my plate.
Mhm.
And also like just the shit that I got taken off my plate was like the stuff I hated to do anyway, so it was great. Um
Yeah, that's
there's
that's it.
okay.
Oh, I'm like ding 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 ding. Okay. So what I want to like just point out that's kind of revealing itself right now is essentially
Expectations.
the expectations of what you can do with your limited time there was insane.
Yep,
The expectations of what you can do now with your limited time is insane. The expectations you're putting on
100%.
yourself. Before you could blame, you had something to blame, right? Um, Joyfully, you had the company, not even like a certain person, but like I had an entity to like be upset with, um, or need to navigate. And now you have your
Hmm.
own self to navigate around this. What I love about what you experienced, though, was that once I voiced what I needed, I was able to get what I needed, and then things
Yeah,
got better, right? And
yeah,
so, if you can think about like even using that example, and I love how that is so recent for you too, because it was the thing right before the thing that you're doing now, basically,
yeah, yeah,
where you get to be shown, oh, hey, Olivia, remember when you voiced what you needed and that got solved? Like there's a sense
yeah.
of needing to do that within yourself. Um, and I know it's kind of a weird thing to be like, well, there was a whole team that could pick up the slack.
Hmm.
So almost thinking about this business that you're working, that you're creating, and any collaborations that you're engaging with,
Hmm.
um, as team members that get to take things off your plate. And what I know from like, stepping forward in this like spiritual business space is that, or, self-development, whatever we want to call it, um, is that at least what I always get from my business is stop micromanaging me, and like so much is happening in the unseen that I don't
Yeah,
know, that I'm like all of my like excess, um excess rigidity
yeah,
is actually like hindering the business to support me in greater ways. So every time, whether I'm doing an Akashic Records reading on the business or tuning in a meditation or someone is like reading for me,
Yeah.
she is always like, girl, chill. Like, we need you to chill. So it's a huge, like, I just want to say that I personally relate to this lesson a lot because it's tricky. It's like, well, I don't see all the people that, all the people that can come help me with these things that I
Right.
have to do. We have to wear a lot of hats, like doing this work. And it's not only that you're like you're clearing your fears around showing up and being seen for this shit. You're also actually doing all the work for
Right.
free to like be available to be seen for people. And, it's a lot. It's like really, it's a very courageous endeavor, I think. So anyway,
Thanks.
just want to acknowledge that. Um, and, we all, we create these like avatars online to kind of be these portals for people to come in and experience the world that we're building and so that they can know how to work with us and all of that kind of stuff and know what we have to offer and be able to get a sense of if our support is the right support for them.
Yeah.
And there's so much support in the unseen that like is is like begging to be worked with. And so because you went to Katie and my like our retreat, just to like share some of the back end with that, like Katie and
Hmm.
I spent a lot of like our number one commitment was to the energy of the creation, not what we wanted it to be. So
Mm.
anytime we were like bumping up against something odd, it was like, okay, let's go back. Let's ask the creation how we are meant to work with it. And every single day of the retreat, we tuned back into the creation and we arranged things and rearranged things and cut things out and pushed things forward based on the guidance that we were given. And it was so satisfying to experience that. And anyway, I believe that's available for every creation, whether you are someone who's, I know Jade's on here and she paints, like in your paintings, in poetry, in your relationship with your family and your partners, like this, that is the energy of creation that we all have access to, but we don't see it. It's just not tangible. So it's like takes a lot of trust. Okay, I just went down a rabbit hole, but does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also like, sorry, just back to the
No.
lungs. And like, I remember
Yeah.
when I left joyfully and everyone's like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I want to breathe for a minute. And then I didn't. Like, I just jumped into the
Yay.
same thing and
Oh,
putting that pressure
yes.
on myself,
Yeah.
like pretty much right away.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know. I did the same thing. The first time I connected in with my business early on, I heard her go, stop micromanaging me, which is what had just happened. I had just come from a company that wouldn't
Right.
let us express and do what we needed to do, even though I was creative director and I had a lot of clout. It was like so limiting. And they like had to see and
Yeah.
approve every single thing. Like I was like presenting shit to the CEO, like, honey, you don't need to know what the email is going to look like this week. Like it was ridiculous. But it was funny because I just took that exact same energy and applied it to my business. And
Hmm.
that's just, I think that's just a thing that, of course, you did that. That's what we know, right? So
Right.
we're going to remove that rigidity, that energy from the business and from your lungs so you can breathe. Let's see. Let me just see if there's an earlier time. Yes. All right. Conception of birth, birth to 1, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're just going to move up in age with you, apparently. Um, Finding all the places you've been rigid in your life or you've picked up
Hmm.
rigidity. All right. Is this with the who? It's with the what? Where's, okay. Your time. And it's what we're here for. All right. My rigidity with my time when I'm 15. So you're 15, you're what, like 10th grade-ish,
Yeah.
11th, depending on your age.
I was
Um,
probably, yeah, ninth, 10th. Yeah. Origin was my time.
yeah, so what's going on when you're 15 that comes up for you?
Um, 15 was. like my first boyfriend.
That's the first thing that popped in my head. So what's going on with your boyfriend?
Really.
Hmm. Is this the boyfriend
Um,
that I know about, or is this a different boyfriend?
no, this was like,
Okay.
your first boyfriend that's like first kiss and then you
I've only
break up
had
a month
two,
later.
so
um, this was I guess the
my
boyfriend
first
before
lasted 10 years.
that.
So
Oh wow, yeah.
yeah.
No, this was like a month. This was a guy
Okay.
who two of my best friends before me had also dated.
Uh,
Um, and I mean, he was cool. I don't know, he like kissed me in the car in front of his little brother for our first kiss. And um I think like I was sort of like just sexually shy and prudish. So, and I think he expected more from that
mm.
situation. So yeah, a month later he broke up with me and started dating another girl in our Spanish class. And 15, it was 15, 16 when my mom remarried. I don't know.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's not
Um,
that, but
it's not okay.
it's this thing with your boyfriend, with this,
That's
what's his name?
hilarious.
I
His name
know,
is William.
William. I did go on a date with a William, but we never became boyfriend, girlfriend.
This was,
All right.
before you go went on dates, really. He was like,
Yeah.
it was that like, will you be my girlfriend thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. What is testing is this idea that he expected more from you than you
Mm.
were willing to give at that time. Um,
Well, that
or
tracks,
that
doesn't it?
or that you felt comfortable giving, I think is like a
Yeah.
big part of it. Um, yeah, all this is tracking. This is like an easy one. Thanks.
I mean,
Thanks for that.
expectations are like a big
Huge.
challenge for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, what will happen if they're not met?
Right.
I will be dumped and somebody else will, he'll just move on. They'll just move
Yeah.
on, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not like worthy, of
Yeah.
having of even experiencing something for longer than a month because I'm not willing to go further. Boys are dumb. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
They are. That's cool.
uh, all right, rigidity. So we were in your left lung. Yeah. Okay. This time we're going to calm it down. Cool. So put your palm, probably right palm, over your left lung space, other palm over your forehead, and bringing to mind this experience with William. Ooh, burping. Okay. Feeling this energy of rigidity around what you're willing to give to him. So when I say, we're talking about time, but that's like brought us into this idea of what you're willing, what you're able, what you feel comfortable giving. That's how that's like tracking with this. And yeah, because he expected more from you. And when you're ready, let's do 3 deep breaths and just move this energy of rigidity. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Whew, okay. What is coming up from that is this belief that if I don't do it now, if I don't go all in now, it's going to go away from me. It's going to move
Yeah.
on without
Yeah.
me. And you're in that space of like doing it all to you right now means all of life, like
Hmm.
wife, kids, sick family, sick husband, like, and
Yeah.
top notch on my business. Like,
Right.
so that is not true. And you know that, but we're just going to like continue to anchor um, that what is for you is for you. It doesn't leave you. What is here for you, what you desire, and I've talked about this a lot around desires, and I'll say it again. our desires are not all meant to be fulfilled. They're meant to bring us into relationship with desire. They're meant to bring us into relationship and collaboration with life. So, what you think you desire around your business likely will change. And it's
Yeah.
not even about that. It's about, okay, me allowing myself to desire what I desire allows me to desire what I desire in all areas of life and allows like the world and all of the unseen forces and God and the universe to help me craft that path. But like that's their job. And your job is to stay close in and to keep trusting that like everything is here. Everything that's right here for me has instructions and is available for me right now. So that means that's what I need to focus on. And there's a difference between you creating problems and like to stay in struggle and like
Hmm.
life happening to you, right? Like
Hmm.
this is life that what's occurring now is life is occurring to you and you're like
Hmm.
here for it and doing your
Hmm.
best. Um, what I'm not sensing in this is like you creating problems for struggle. Your creation around this is the expectation. You know, you're
Hmm.
creating the expectation and then you're not measuring up to that expectation. And so then you're like beating yourself up into this like shame cycle, you know.
Yep. I
Okay.
do.
You're like, yes, I know very well. This is why my camera is off. Okay. So, are there any more emotions? Yes. Okay. Unique. So interesting. Just super up in your lungs, girl. Back to the
Yep.
right lung. Yup. Anguish. Mm,
Mm.
yeah. So you felt anguish at 15 when he moved on. With, or even just with the situation. It doesn't even feel like it happened after he left. It's just more like, you're in that new
Yeah.
whatever first boyfriend thing. He kissed you, made you uncomfortable, but you liked it, whatever it was, and then it wasn't enough for him, the whole thing.
Hmm.
So with this, I usually say because we're like at the root story, like the memory, I don't really need to know more details for my process, but if there's something that you feel you want to share about it, that's helpful. So you can do that. Um,
Yeah,
so
I don't think I have anything
yeah. Okay.
extra. It seems like such a silly story at this point.
Isn't
But
that funny? I wonder if this
yeah,
is trauma. Like, oh, 15. It's a big time, 15. And I know that you
yeah,
don't have siblings, so you didn't really have anyone like to look up to or to talk to about these kinds of things. Um,
right.
so, just the sense of feeling kind of like alone in this situation is,
Hmm.
I think, is important because there's also this like, I have to do it all on my own. I have to have it all figured out in
Yeah,
order.
there's like something around being a late bloomer there too, I think.
Me too, girl. Super late bloomer.
Which like I think I caught up pretty quickly, like, the next year, but
Mm,
um
yeah.
not
Ooh,
that that was like especially healthy.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Right lung anguish. Okay. Yeah. So you're going to do palm over the right lung, palm over the forehead, and just bring to mind being 15, this anguish about who you be at that time. I be a late bloomer. I am someone who
Yes.
just, I'm not ready for this. But I feel like I need to be. So when you're ready,
Hmm.
go ahead and breathe. Mm, good. When you're finished breathing, you can release your hands. You've got more emotions on here. Dang. All right.
You thought it was easy.
Still in that right lung. I know. I mean, the story feels easy to me, but
Yeah.
you got shit in here. So,
Yeah, for real.
The rigidity. Holy moly. Okay. Ooh, okay. Not yours. It's his. So William's rigidity.
Seriously?
Yep.
Okay.
What a dick. We need to forgive William.
I thought I had.
I mean, I really truly don't see this as being like, I mean, it's presenting as heavier because there are more emotions, but it's not presenting as something that you're like not ready to release or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
So
it's like, I guess that was maybe just like the pattern too that I set. Do you know what I
say more
mean?
about that.
Like, there's been energy in all of my major relationships of like, they expect this.
Mm,
And and specifically with the sexuality piece,
hmm
and what am I comfortable giving?
Yeah. Yeah. And um, can't write and talk. Okay. The like the like massive creation energy that you're in around building this business
Hmm.
is like that comes in that there's a how do I want to say it? A heavy role from the sexual organs, like from the
Hmm.
creation organs that we
Right.
carry. And
Totally.
so this idea of learning sexual expectation from the masculine, that's another piece that was coming up in the last breath. This
Yeah.
idea that like the masculine is not here for you. It's going to move on unless you uphold the expectations of
Oof,
them.
girl.
I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. Yeah, which I know a little more about your story and I know how that connects
Hmm.
to other things that,
Hmm.
don't really have to be shared. Um, yeah. Yeah. And I know when we first talked about this session, the idea of doing the session, there was a component with finances that
Hmm.
doesn't really seem super relevant for us to dive into deeply here.
Yeah.
The connection to this piece, though, is, your fear of like not handling it correctly,
Hmm.
um, and really not knowing like what to do with it and how to like again properly engage with it or think about it or relate to it. Um, Almost like there's a way to do it right and there's a way to do it wrong, and I feel like all I can do is I don't know what is right kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so just kind of like allowing that again, there's like rigidity there. Like
Yep.
there's one way to do this. And what you've been programmed since you were young is that, well, if I don't meet the expectations of this outside thing, or if I don't even have expectations, that's the other thing. Like if you don't have your own expectations, then how are you going to know if you're doing it right? How are you going to
Hmm.
know if like it's safe to continue or that you'll be accepted? So the
Yeah.
sun is coming in here like really, really bright right now. And I'm like, what's happening? All right. So right lung rigidity, right lung. Okay. Yeah, we're still calming it down. So palm over the right. So this is like so awkward for me to do it backward. And then palm over the forehead. Oh,
Okay.
and just bringing to mind being 15 and William's rigidity with his expectations of you, of how things should go, of what you are comfortable giving. And when you're ready, go ahead and breathe. Yeah. And in no part of this does it address even the idea of you receiving anything from it. Like all of this is about how much you give and
Yeah.
what's expected of you. But kind of going back to the conversation about nature and trusting the cycle, like what we need to learn from nature and the cycle of life is that when we overgive and we don't allow for receiving, then resentment, I think you were saying it perfectly, rage and resentment present, you know. And it's almost like we have it so fucked up, especially women, and so backward, but it's like, I will be able to receive once I give X, Y, and Z. I will be
Right.
able to receive once. And like, I can tell you from like specifically in the business sphere, like it's just that's not the way it works. Like I was just telling you this before we started with this. Like I am now becoming very dialed into, okay, the giving has gone too far. We need to like pull back and relax to receive,
Yeah.
or else
Yeah.
I'm going to be empty,
Yeah.
and that doesn't change the fact that I desire with a generous heart to give. It's every time this comes up, it helps me to learn, oh, like there's my cup needs to be filled in all these different ways. It's not just like what I thought it was, beforehand. Does that make sense? I know I'm kind of talking like
Yeah.
abstractly.
No, totally.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's like this space that I've sort of been cycling in and out of, like that trust and like integrating that knowledge.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
had a big aha moment with it not too long ago. And then like I feel like it's just like, I don't know, the universe being like, is that what you believe? Maybe it's Mars retrograde, like in my ninth house, but um yeah, it's been
Yeah.
interesting.
And what I love about what you just said is like how perfect that every opportunity for you to learn this lesson, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, or some people will say like pass the test, which I think is hard language to use, but
Mm-hmm.
you are getting every opportunity. Like it's available to you in
Boo.
so many ways.
Yeah, you're right. No.
I guess to like feel what's cool about that though is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
like you're
totally.
not gonna miss it. Like you're not gonna miss it. You're not gonna miss it. Like which then translates into when I am doing X, Y, and Z out in the world in my business and something is not right, something is off, I don't have to fear, I don't have to be hyper vigilant looking for problems. I get to trust that I'm not going to miss it because
Yeah,
my guides, my God, universe, like my trust in my higher self, like the work that I'm committed to, like the work works, it's like
yeah,
great. So once we decide that we've done enough work and the work works, like we get to be. And when we're being, that means that we're in the place of seeing and knowing and trusting that the right information drops on our path exactly at the right time. We feel the right feeling. Like when you're clear enough, meaning when you are, I don't even want to say enough, when you are in this practice with the desire to have a deep relationship to life, as a whole, and which includes the relationship to your desires, includes the relationship to the universe or whatever, and your higher self, then it's it just is that it will be here for you. So then there's no need for urgency, for expectation, for this worry that everything's going to like go away if you don't do it right now or fix it right now or have it perfect right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Does that make sense? Like kind of like
100%.
backdooring this like learning like, oh, my family has been sick for almost 2 months straight.
Yeah, yeah,
Right after you came from the retreat and you had massive moments of like, whoo, let's move shit, and
yeah.
then like so these massive up levels are happening and it's like everyone is like, Olivia, this is where your focus needs to be, and it's
Hmm.
because it's where it needs to be, it's where it's supposed to be. You're in the right place. You're not,
Yeah,
you know and there's no like I don't know, time isn't a thing, but there's no like beware of punishing yourself or shaming yourself around the idea that this has been going on for 2 months because I didn't wake up to it yet. Like I've
Yeah.
had to suffer for X amount of time. It's like, don't even waste your time going down that route. It's cool. I have the information I need to know now. And even if I don't understand why this is as it is now, likely if I need to understand it, I will know later. Like I'll find out later.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, almost like with the last retreat, Katie and I were like, we really want that fourth spot to be filled. We really want the fourth spot to be filled. We're so like, I knew it in my bones that the retreat was exactly as it needed to be before we came, but the fourth spot never got filled. And we showed up to that house like 2 hours before you got there. And we looked at the rooms and we were like, now we know why the fourth spot wasn't filled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and I was so fucking grateful because my whole center would have been knocked if somebody were sharing that room with you. I would have felt
Yeah.
awful because
Yeah.
it just wasn't as it was advertised. It was
Right.
way smaller. It's like, yeah, it could be Olivia and her daughter, but not like a full grown woman staying with you.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just then it was like, okay, another way to just like remember that we are so, yes, we had this desire that we were super tight on and we knew, but like everything and more was fulfilled through that experience.
Right.
It wasn't about the fourth person, but that was the thing that got us and that got me. I can't speak for Katie, but that I was excited about holding the vision for. And so then I could stay
Hmm.
in the energy of that vision. And anyway, okay. I don't know why I keep going down this rabbit hole. So we're gonna
That's
come back.
okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Ah,
I want to
I know
say
I
too, like all of this
please.
is so so in line with where the next eclipse is. Like it's
Oh,
in gate two and gate one, which is like divine feminine, divine masculine. Gate two is 100% about like trust the process, and when you feel lost, that's just an illusion. And like, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
there's like
Oh, yes.
four planets in gate two and three in gate one, and like just yeah. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a wild ride, especially for sweet Lauren with
For folks with a lot of Taurus
a
energy, we'll
lot
just
of, well, she has a
say.
lot of two and one energy too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I it's interesting that you say that because so I know we're going off. I'm just going to say it anyway because I
yeah.
want to. So that because I want to. So thank you for who's on this journey with us,
Yes.
for listening. You know that the deck that Katie and I used at the retreat, this one I'm going to show it. I'm
With
like
the sacred
obsessed.
fool.
The Sacred Rebels, yeah, and that
Yes.
Sacred Fool card.
Yeah.
So I've been working with it ever since the retreat, and it's just such a rich, rich deck. Like highly, highly recommend anyone to get it if you're feeling drawn to it. Last week I pulled this card, Diving for Light, and the essence
Mm.
of it is, I mean, there's a lot. These, as you remember, there were like 4 pages per card.
Yeah.
It's like a long, meaty
The best.
explanation. So good. Except when you're reading it out loud and you start getting insecure that people are like drifting off because it's such a long, long card. But the essence of this diving for light is the idea that we like how easy it is to look for light in things that are already light and heavenly and beautiful.
Hmm.
And light meaning also, I take this as like from a density perspective, like
Yeah.
actually have levity within them. But I am being called, and this has been true for most of my journey, but like to find the light in the dark and
Hmm.
in the density. And
Yeah,
I see it such like a scorpionic vibe too, of like being the
for sure.
spelunker, like into the depths of everything and coming back up with what is ready to be here and like releasing everything that's, not ready to be here anymore. But there's some language in there and some like, I guess I want to call them warnings, but the medicine of this card is about like, you are super powerful and really vulnerable in this time. And so
Mm.
being careful of noticing what is like my authentic energy. This is the way I'm interpreting it. Because again, I'm not going to be able to like paraphrase it from the card, but Like, what is my authentic energy here in this situation? And what are other people's fears that are being projected onto me? And then
Mm-hmm.
where is the dark in me coming in to sabotage what I'm doing and what I'm here for and
Yeah.
what this season is? And so it's kind of like a play on you're in a void and you're looking
Yeah.
for the light in the void and you're trusting where you are and you're holding on strong and you're following your sacred rebellious heart even when everything outside of you is like just freaking out, kind of, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this memory of or remembrance of, the way out is through, and the way through is compassion of the heart, having deep
Mm-hmm.
compassion and, working with what's right here. And so I pulled it last week and it felt really resonant last week. And I did the little like practice. There's like a little affirmation thing you say a few days in a row or whatever. And I did that. And it was really comforting. And then Monday, I was like, okay, I'm ready for a new card. And like, fucking pulled the same card again. This deck has like 70 cards in it or something. And I was
I
like, okay, I guess we're not done with this story, this like
love that.
lesson, you
Yeah.
know? And it is just like, it feels a lot like where you are right now, too, in this.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a lot where a lot of clients are right now. And even Jimena and I have been talking about it too. But okay, let me go back. Let's get back into your session. We're going to do some statements. Those are the emotions. So much fucking rigidity. I've literally never seen this. I've been doing this for years. I've had sessions for like, I've worked with over 100 people, and I've never seen any emotion come up 4 times. Wait,
Four
one,
times.
2, 3 times,
Oh,
technically,
3 times.
if we're
There's
not
anguish.
counting. Yeah, anguish was
Yeah.
in there. I've never seen that happen before. And rigidity. I don't really get rigidity that often. So, um, and I've explained this before, but like when one of these emotions is targeted or like comes up, it's the nucleus emotion. And so there are other emotions likely attached to that, like depression and rage and anger and whatever. But the point is, your body has told us this is the emotion we need to move the stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
every time we're moving an emotion, I consider it like a package. It's an emotional package. It's just not like a one and done kind of thing. Um,
Sure.
so it's interesting that there's so much rigidity showing up as the key, nucleus emotion that wants to be liberated. And okay, so going back to this is testing as phase two. So what I'm going to have you do, and I'll explain phase one and phase two, just in case anyone who's watching this has not heard about the way that we address trauma. So essentially, this session has gone from we have a focus. So what Olivia came in with and what we're working with. Then we find it within the body. So that's what we just did. We found all the things, and then we fix it by like basically interrupting the like neural pathway that automatically like cycles into these emotions. Um, that because we learn these ways of being, and so then our system just like does that. Okay, yeah, Olivia, take your little break. Olivia's gonna take a quick bio break, which is perfect. So basically when we have an experience in our life that has left an impact on us, and usually it's negative experience because we don't really know how to process negativity in the moment. We will stuff that down one way or another, especially as a 15-year-old, and especially around something as like intimate as like intimacy, your first time being intimate. Um, oh, thank you, Jimena. It's crazy and amazing. I know. Actually, I can look at the chat really quick too. Um, oh, and crying is the best. Good. I'm glad this is vibing with you. But yeah, we get to interrupt those patterns that have become our natural way of navigating life. And if you've been tracking along this whole story, Olivia left her most recent job. She's taken the energy from what she learned at 15 into that structure, and then also now into like starting her own business. Um, I mean, obviously, the focus is sort of on like, time scarcity. That was kind of what she came in with because she has these things she's trying to do, and life is like not letting her do them. Oh, I didn't even explain trauma yet, Olivia. Sorry. But I'm just like explaining the story a little bit.
No, I'm here for it. I just wanted you to know I was
Okay.
back in case you were
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
trying to fill time.
Nope, just in my true fashion, this is what's happening.
Love it.
So anyway, just noticing how we will pick something up when we're young, and that is the lens through which we walk life. And how we do one thing is often how we do all things, many things, right? So this isn't really just about feeling time scarcity. The real story underneath it is time scarcity comes from this fear that if I don't do something now, it will leave me because that's what I've seen happen. Or if I don't do it good enough, or if I'm not good enough, if I'm not worthy enough, I will be left, and particularly around things that have a lot of masculine energy as well. So creating a business, receiving money, all that, like taking something from idea into form, like the form and the structure is the masculine. If we're making it like very, very simple, is going to be the masculine energy. And that, the idea and the energy is going to be more of the feminine energy. So trauma, phase one, phase two. Um, so wait, we've fixed it by interrupting that pattern. And then now we want to really, I consider it like seal the deal, so that Olivia can walk out of here and step into life with access to more, what I think is more of herself and what's available to her now, from a consciousness standpoint. What that tangibly looks like is she has access to more choices. So when she's presented with the energy of time scarcity and the anxiety, and seeing that from her partner or from the outside world, Instagram, whatever, any collaborations, she gets to actually choose from a more conscious place. There's more space between, okay, I have to go and like react in this way and then feel all the rage and resentment and all these things and just stay in the spiral. I get to actually breathe, breathe, and then make a choice on how I want to proceed and remind myself of what's true. And what's true is that urgency doesn't have a place here. Urgency doesn't have a place in anything that's meant for me. What's meant for me is meant for me. It's not going away. It doesn't get taken away if I do it wrong. So, what we're doing with this part of the session is creating that resolution and helping her mind, body, and spirit get all aligned on the same page with where she's headed. And the way that I'm interpreting that is being in the truth. She's headed for truth. Um, phase one trauma is when the right side of the brain gets super overactive and the left side drops out. Phase two is where they both drop out. And if you want to know more about trauma, you can message me and I'll do a deeper dive on it at some point. I think I even have a recording around it, but already. But essentially, what we want to do for this part of the session is have Olivia resourcing her brain while we're doing this. So, as you can see, this situation doesn't kick up a lot of fresh emotion for her, um, like thinking back to age 15, but the body has recorded it as a trauma experience. And what that means is that on some level she felt alone, like that she had no one to go to help with this, um, and that like she did something wrong and that it was her fault and that she needed to operate a different way, which phase two looks more like checking out, and like just I gotta like shut off because this is too overwhelming. So when things get too overwhelming, I need to like, either get really distracted by my family, or I need to like just totally like numb out in certain ways, because it's too hard to like focus on what's here. So we want to like get rid of that pattern, right? Um, any questions about that, Olivia, before we dive in?
Nope.
Okay. I know you're very versed in the whole trauma situation. So I'm going to have you, that sounded, everyone has trauma.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I know. I'm like, I know you really know a lot about trauma. Like, for real, we all know a lot about trauma, even if we don't know, we know a lot about trauma. So, I'm going to have you to wake up, keep both sides online. I'm going to have you just tapping all over your head. And what I suggest is take one hand and tap all over, or, and then switch and do the other, or you can do both, whatever feels good for you and your body. And we'll do a few statements. I know that there are some folks here live, so we'll probably have a little bit of like we might go over a little bit to um to chat. So if folks are able to stay, I will stay for a little bit to chat a little bit more. Um, all right, Olivia. And if you're tracking and you want to say statements with us, like please feel free to follow along. So go ahead and take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Yeah, I'll just have you start here. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that my truth
that my truth
is that time is scarce.
is that time is scarce.
Because when I was 15,
Because when I was 15,
I lost my first boyfriend.
I lost my first boyfriend
Yeah, because I didn't, because I was a late bloomer. Just say
because I
that.
was a late bloomer.
Yeah, I didn't do what he wanted me to do
He didn't do what he wanted me to do.
because I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah, and that taught me I needed to be ready
And that taught me that I needed to be ready
and take action
and take action
all the time
all the time
in order to keep what I desire.
in order to keep what I desire,
Yeah, even if it's not right for me.
even if it's not right for me.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
I can understand these concepts,
I can understand these concepts,
but I can't embody them
but I can't embody them
because when I was 15,
because when I was 15,
I had to leave my body
I had to leave my body
when there were expectations on me
when there were expectations on me
that I was uncomfortable giving.
that I was uncomfortable giving.
Yeah, and breathe. Yeah, I forgive William
I forgive William
for the role he played
for the role he played
in yeah, in providing further proof
in providing further proof
of the idea
of the idea
that the masculine is not here for me
that the masculine is not here for me
or won't stick around.
and won't stick around
Yeah, if I don't meet their expectations
if I don't meet their expectations
or meet the expectations I think are there.
or meet the expectations I think are there.
Yeah, and breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
I have to stay hyper vigilant.
I have to stay hyper vigilant
Yeah, in my rigidity
in my rigidity
and in the energy of rigidity.
and in the energy of rigidity
Yeah, in order to keep it all together.
in order to keep it all together
Yeah, because that's what I was taught.
because that's what I was taught
Yeah, at an early age.
at an early age
Yeah, when my parents got divorced
when my parents got divorced
and I needed to keep it together for my mom.
and I needed to keep it together for my mom.
Yeah, and breathe. Yeah, I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing
Um, the only way to get through this
the only way to get through this
is to be over controlling.
is to be over controlling,
Yeah, even when
even when
that doesn't feel good in my
that,
body.
that doesn't feel good in my body.
Yeah, and breathe. Yeah, I love and accept Alan
I love and accept Alan
in his rigidity,
in his rigidity,
teaching me to gently unsubscribe
teaching me to gently unsubscribe
from any anxious energy
from any anxious energy
and over control.
and over control
Yeah, that I place on myself.
that I place on myself.
Yeah, I love and accept Alan as a perfect mirror.
I love and accept Alan as a perfect mirror
Yeah, of what can happen in the body
of what can happen in the body
when you don't rest
when you don't rest
and trust nature
and trust nature
and trust the truth.
and trust the truth.
Yeah. And breathe. Yeah. I ask Alan to forgive me
I ask Alan to forgive me
for trying to take on his rigidity
for trying to take on his rigidity
as my way of helping him with it.
as my way of helping him with it.
Yeah. And I give him permission.
I give him permission
Yeah. To heal in the way he needs to heal.
to heal in the way he needs to heal.
Yeah. I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to model.
to model
Yeah. Hmm, high compassion and divine grace.
high compassion and divine grace
Yeah. As it relates to trust.
as it relates to trust
Yeah. And letting go of urgency.
and letting go of urgency.
Yeah. And breathe. Without this, yeah, without this big pattern of rigidity,
Without this big pattern of rigidity,
um, I love and accept
I love and accept
choosing nature.
choosing nature
Yeah. Um, as my teacher.
as my teacher
Yeah. Instead of my 9-year-old self
instead of my 9-year-old self
or my 15-year-old self.
or my 15-year-old self.
Yeah. I love and accept I can receive.
I love and accept I can receive
Yeah. Um, wisdom from nature.
wisdom from nature,
Yeah. Even when I'm not sure
even when I'm not sure
what's next.
what's next.
Yeah. And breathe. Without this negative pattern,
Without this negative pattern,
I no longer need time scarcity,
I no longer need time scarcity,
distracting me from what I'm here to be.
distracting me from what I'm here to be,
Even if I can't see the blueprint
even if I can't see the blueprint
of what I'm stepping into.
of what I'm stepping into.
Yeah. I can let go of time scarcity.
I can let go of time scarcity
Yeah. Because I know that isn't true.
because I know that isn't true.
Yeah. And breathe. Yeah. Without the pattern of trusting time scarcity over my heart.
Without the pattern of trusting time scarcity over my heart,
Yeah. I can now show up
I can now show up
and pay attention.
and pay attention
Yeah. To what is true
to what is true
and what I'm ready to let go of.
and what I'm ready to let go of,
Yeah. Even when I'm afraid.
even when I'm afraid.
Yeah. And breathe. Yeah. I'll say one more. Yeah. Okay. We're going to say this. Um, this is such a cute one. It just feels so good. Yeah. So, um, with this new awareness,
With this new awareness,
yeah, I, uh, hmm, now I'm getting a lot of resistance. Yeah, we're gonna say a couple more. So, I say yes to the resistance.
I say yes to the resistance,
Yeah, to the idea
to the idea
that it could be this easy
that it could be this easy
to just decide
to just decide
what's true and not true.
what's true and not true.
Yeah, I say yes to the resistance.
I say yes to the resistance
to the idea
to the idea
that it could be that easy
that it could be that easy
to just decide
to just decide
that I'm enough
that I'm enough
right now.
right now
Yeah. Without expectation
without expectation
from myself or others.
from myself or others,
Yeah. And that I'm exactly where I need to be.
and that I'm exactly where I need to be
Yeah. Always.
always.
Yeah. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
it can't be that easy.
that it can't be that easy
Yeah. To just decide
to just decide
to know and believe
to know and believe
I'm worthy.
I am worthy
Yeah. Right now.
right now.
And breathe. So, yeah, with this new awareness,
With this new awareness,
um, I can now see
I can now see
I don't actually have a problem with time scarcity.
I don't actually have a problem with time scarcity.
I had a problem with old memories.
I had a problem with old memory
Yeah, around, um, yeah, experiences of toxic masculinity
around experiences of toxic masculinity
that I thought were true.
that I thought were true.
Yeah. So I say over those memories,
Say over those memories,
I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
And thank you.
Thank you.
And breathe. Yeah. Yeah. I'll say one more. With this, I know
With this, I know
my heart is always right.
my heart is always right.
My time is always now,
My time is always now,
no matter where I am
no matter where I am
or what I'm doing.
or what I'm doing.
Yeah. I am here,
I am here,
and that is correct.
and that is correct.
Yeah. And breathe. And so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, sister. I want you to journal and I know that you're a journaler, so
Yes.
I don't feel like I have to like push your hand.
No.
Um, I want you to journal on like asking yourself to reveal to you how you can feel safe in the idea of balancing family and work with what you're coming into, what you're stepping into.
Mm-hmm.
So just like get it all out on paper, journal the fears that you have about it, ask yourself if they're true, like ultimately true. Ask yourself for guidance on how to work with them and shift that narrative for yourself. Get into that practice of like noticing if my truth is there's no need to be urgent. There's urgency doesn't have a place here. There's always enough time. Then what's then what does this mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, is that not true? Cool. How can I shift that and release that so I can easily step back into what's true? It's ultimately this choice of like return to love, return to love, return to love.
Mm-hmm.
I find that we feel like we need to jump through seven hoops to return to love. But
Yeah.
once you start practicing it, you're like, oh, the shift gets to be easy, even when it's hard. And that doesn't make sense. But like, even when it's hard, it's like, go back to like the steps. The steps are what is actually here for me right now? What is this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me be present to the present. What are you revealing to me? Is this true? If it's not, if there are shades of it that feel true, let's explore that. Like, you have the capacity to do all of that and then asking for guidance and then shifting, you know. It can be that easy. Now, there are going to be things that are going to be tougher, and that's when you know you need to work with someone. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just. we're not meant to be in a vacuum. So, um,
True.
okay, let me test where you are. I'll turn off the camera and then or I'll turn off the recording and then we can like chat for, I know we're a little
Okay.
bit over time. Do you actually have time to stay or no?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
do? Okay. I have something and I have another session in a half an hour. So that's going to
Okay.
be probably stay for another 15. So let's see. Thinking about the time scarcity. Good. Distress. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. 10 to a 2. I'm actually surprised by that. Is there any elation? No. Good. Stage of healing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, we got you to stage 5, which is the goal. You're
Yeah.
in acceptance. Allow the energy of acceptance to just like, do its thing. There's nothing you need to do except to keep reminding yourself of the truth and breathe. Like actually take the advice that you were giving yourself like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Um, all right, go ahead and say, I'm okay to show up.
I'm okay to show up.
I'm okay to pay attention.
I'm okay to pay attention.
I'm okay to tell the truth.
I'm okay to tell the truth.
I'm okay to let go.
I'm okay to let go.
Yeah, test it again. Good. Yeah, you are congruent with all of that. So mission
Woohoo.
accomplished.
Thanks,
So
lady.
feel free to update me on kind of what comes up for you next around how to navigate this. Or what I find is that you either go on living life and totally forget that you had this session, and then you'll be like, oh my God, that thing that used to be so hard is not hard anymore. Or like pretty soon you'll walk out and be like, especially if you're pretty dialed into your life, feel like you'll walk out and then be like, oh, I had this opportunity to choose something different. And I actually felt
Mhm.
the conscious ability to choose, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
keep me posted on that.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to turn off our recording. Thanks
Okay.
for being here.